friends. It's very,
Hello.
very early. We're here very early today, mostly because Margaret and I have a lot of reading to do. That's
Yes.
the reason. Margaret and I have decided to swap our screen time for our reading time for just today. We can't commit to a week. I could never do the week.
Oh, I will be doing a week at some point. This was not the week.
This was not it.
It's very funny because this week started and suddenly I had a whole bunch of stuff that needed to have, like, clients were calling me. I'm just like, you guys don't talk to me except when I'm actually doing things.
100%. That's totally what's happened. And so that's what we're going to do. I have been doing this for the last 2 weeks, 1 day a week over on TikTok. And I think that has resulted in the fact that, like, this week, my screen time is actually not that bad. Like, it's really, it's not too bad. And so I'm using my average screen time from last week, which is 5 hours and 26 minutes, which is, I think, acceptable. Like, I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I can do that. I can read for 5 hours and 26 minutes today. That's very doable. Margaret, what's your situation? Your situation is more like my first week. When I did this the first time, I was like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. So my situation is I have 7 out. I got it down. So basically I took out a lot of, like, the nothing apps.
Yes.
And then, like, YouTube doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Because YouTube, I might be doing actual things while I am watching YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
So my situation, I've gotten it down to 7 hours and 16 minutes.
That's not bad, actually. That's only an hour and a half more than me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the apps that I use, apparently they don't keep, like, my phone's internal app that keeps track of screen time and the other app that I have downloaded for this purpose do not keep track. They only keep track of 1 week at a time unless I want to pay for that other app
got you.
to let me do a custom range. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'll use yesterday's time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not as bad as the first time I thought about doing this challenge, which was 11 hours.
Ooh, that is long. Long.
That's why we didn't do it this week.
You're like, cannot commit. So when Margaret popped into stream, the first thing Margaret said to me was, "You're still reading Iron Flame?" And I went, yes. And the reason being is there's multiple reasons. First, Iron Flame is a brick. Okay? Yeah. That's the first reason. Secondly, my currently reading stack, and all of them are for projects or deadlines or book clubs, like all necessary reads this week, is so large. So I've been bouncing between, like, 4 books, like reading a couple chapters here. So I'm not getting far in any of them. Does that make sense? Like, I'm just, like, drifting in all of them. But I am so close to finishing Iron Flame. Look at this, Margaret. Look how
close. You can get this done in, like, the first 2 sprints or so.
I would say 2 sprints. I think I have about an hour and a half left at my listening speed on Iron Flame. So, like, 2 sprints and, like, some vlogging time at the end to, like, say my thoughts for the vlog. And then I'm going to be working on The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I was going to do a buddy read. Margaret and I are doing a buddy read of Awakened Mage. That was the plan for today. But this live show is coming up at a clip. And I'm not... I have more than 50% of this book left, and I need to have thoughts for the live show. So I'm going to prioritize these 2 today.
Oh, you haven't even gotten to the good part yet.
No, I don't know what the good part is, but no, I'm enjoying this though. Like, I can't go into too much of my thoughts, but, like, I'm enjoying this book. It's a good book. That's what I'll say. But
nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna work on this today as well. So for anyone who doesn't know, Genre Blend Comp Club live show is on Julie's channel on Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be discussing this book. So, if you want to come discuss it with us, you do have time still to read it, because I'm going to be reading most of it today anyway. And then I'm going to catch up to Margaret for our buddy read once these 2 books are done.
Yes, well, you will be less behind than I currently am. So,
where are you in the buddy read? I didn't even know where you were, to be honest. I said that to the vlog this morning. I was like, I don't actually know where Margaret is.
Margaret's on chapter 7, I think. Just started.
I'm at the end of chapter 7. So I'm actually,
okay, cool.
We're basically in the same spot.
Beautiful.
Look
So
at
we're not
that.
too far.
No.
Maybe
Not
I'll get caught up to chapter 7 then, and then we can figure out how much we want to read tomorrow. I have other books. I have a lot of books to read, but like I'm trying to get caught up on this one.
This is what I love about buddy reading together is that we both are always juggling so many reads that we're like, it's fine, we'll adjust. Like we're fine to just like we'll figure it out as we go. It's fine.
It's Brittany. It was my only read until about last night, so I don't have an excuse.
That's fine. That's okay. I have a deep end I have to read this week for B&K, although truly that one is at the bottom of the stack. Like I'm not, it doesn't have my attention enough to move it up the stack. Does that make sense? So
yeah, I'm considering joining a local book club for that one. Ooh. So I need to get it and I need to read it.
I don't know if it's a Margaret book.
I don't know that it's a Margaret book either, but Margaret's going to try it because she wants to talk with people about books in person.
That's fair. I joined my first in-person book club last month, and it was really nice to just like go and meet like actual people, you know?
Yeah, because I'm going to be potentially well, I have to buy the tickets. I am traveling. Because I am going to be traveling, I will not be able to join like the romantasy book club at my library that I was planning on joining this month, but that's fine. I'll join it next month.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So.
It's good. It's nice to meet like actual inhuman book friends. We have so many online book friends, but it's nice to like meet some in person.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say hello to our friends because we have some friends here at this early time of the morning. Thank you everyone for being here so early because I know this is not my typical time to.
Well, I haven't even progressed to the caffeine yet. We're still on the glass of water.
I definitely have the caffeine. Oh, also, for anyone who doesn't know, we're going to be here for 4 hours. Then we're going to direct to Margaret for 4 hours. So we are going to be here for 8 hours between me and Margaret. I have the redirect set up, so we'll just like hop over. That's the plan. Hello, Vanessa. Hi, Abs. Hope everyone is well. Thinking about finishing The Crimson Moth today. Also, I'm still on my first cup of coffee, so if reading comments is a struggle, I do apologize. And you all love me anyway. It's fine.
Brittany, I love you, but does the coffee make a difference? We're disasters regardless.
I'm really good for like the middle part of the day. If it's really early or really late, and by really late, I mean like after 6 p.m., I'm useless.
After 6 p.m. would be the middle part of the day.
No, my middle part of the day is like 1 to
5. Before 6 p.m. would be the middle. I meant before 6 p.m. See, not good with the words.
Yeah, before 6 p.m. is like my middle part. And then like 6. By the time I get to Bones on Thursdays, I'm surprised I'm coherent for those folks, to be honest. Hi, Denise. Drinking morning coffee. We'll be getting in a shower soon. Haven't decided how I'll start my day after that. That sounds like a good start to the day. Coffee, shower, I approve. This is nice morning, friends. Hi, Aoife.
Hi, Aoife.
I know we're going to see all my European friends this morning. That's what's going to happen. Hi, Meg. My day off of work, and I'll be reading with you guys. Sounds lovely. What are you going to be reading? Hi, Stacy. Making breakfast. Then I'm heading out to my mom's and aunt's for the day. But we'll be back when you're on Margaret's channel. Sounds good. Nice. Hi, Min. I was thinking of trying this idea, but I don't think there's enough hours in the day for me. Truly, you could always do what Margaret did and delete some of those apps that like you would technically probably be using for very specific reasons, or even like YouTube. A lot of time I'm reading while YouTube's running. So like technically there's an overlap there. So, you know, that there's ways to like kind of make it a little bit easier on yourself for sure.
Yeah. And I'm specifically not using, I didn't think about using an average. That would be nice, but I don't have anything to average against. So it's fine.
That's fair. Hi, Grace, listening to X Vows, currently at 87% in. Finished The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy yesterday. Looking forward to the live show. Also excited to start Painted Devils this weekend. This is a good time to plug the Little Thieves read along that Margaret and Leandra are doing. When are you doing Little Thieves? Next month? Or sorry, Painted Devils. I knew what I meant.
Painted Devils. Okay, so Painted Devils sprints are this weekend. Right now they are scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Things may change, but they're scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. And then the live show is going to be on the 30th. If we scheduled a time for it, I don't remember.
That's fair.
But it's on the 30th.
That's exciting. This is the book I really wanted to reread Little Thieves with you all, but it did not get in the
Didn't
stack. And I have the audio for both of them. So like
Yeah.
there is a possibility that I just like because Little Thieves is a reread, so that won't take
Yes.
long.
Little Thieves also would work very well for Realmathon if you're on the team I think you're on.
Monarchs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey.
I'm reading so much political fantasy this month because I'm reading obviously I'm binging the Empyrean, and then I'm also reading Valor, the Faithful and the Fallen this month. Plus the Awakened Mange, like that's political fantasy too. So like it didn't make sense for me to be anywhere else. Like
Yeah, no. It doesn't have it has some politics in it, so that would work. And it's also in a secondary world. So
true. Filming today, I put it off for so long, but better late than never. Going to reward myself with a self-care night. If I get it done, I love this idea. It's true. Sometimes you really have to. I find if I get out of the filming routine, like if I get into a good routine, I'm good to stay in it. But if I take a few days off, coming back to filming is like so difficult, especially vlogging. Like if I take a few days off vlogging, I'm like, how do I talk to a camera? Like I lose.
so
I'm like, I don't remember how I
that doesn't no, I feel that.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Anne. Going to be alternating between The Shadow of What Was Lost on audio and Sunbringer, an ebook today. I finally got God Killer in on audio, so I need to
Nice.
start my reread because April 1st is coming quickly for Faithbreaker. Red Heart and Mercy, and even I don't know what the good part she means.
I mean, is that because you didn't like it, Aoife? Or
We'll find out at the live show. Who knows?
I mean, I feel like for me at least, that book kind of like it was fun at the beginning, but it didn't get really good until you got past the halfway point, for reasons.
I will find out. We'll see. I can see what you mean. Like the start is very nothing wrong with it, but it's like a slow start.
Yeah.
Like it is a very quick read.
It is. I read it so quickly.
And I think it feels even like quicker because I'm reading so many big chunky fantasies that are taking ages that like this feels like nothing. It feels like the fastest book I could ever read. This is so funny. I actually watched You Got Mail last night because of the vibes. Because I'm reading 2 You've Got Mail inspired books this month on my TBR. Timmies gave me 2 of them. And I was like, well, I need to watch the movie. Like it's just, I mean, it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. I've watched it so many times. And it's just like a cozy movie. You know what I mean? Hello, I'm working on Canva. Tried to create nice graphics. Not sure what I'm listening to yet. I love playing on Canva, but also I'm always like, I don't feel like that's my strongest place on YouTube is making graphics. So it always takes me so long to like make a graphic. Pretty bad day at work. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I hope we can at least lighten your day with like some fun chats. I hope. Think I'll read After the Flood. Good morning, Tasha. Need to get a move on. Heart and Mercy, I'm 13% in, but enjoying it. Yeah, this is me. I'm a little bit further than that. I'm like 34, but like still I need to get on it. Hi, Alicia. Just waking up, taking the kids to school, and may go back to sleep for a bit this morning. I didn't sleep much last night. Definitely need a nap. Nap while the kids are gone. Probably use the Painted Devil sprints to make some progress on Little Thieves. I didn't get around to it in February. You know what? That makes sense.
They're really easy books to read back to back. Number 1, because they're only like 500 pages. Number 2, they do read really quickly, especially like if you have the audiobook.
They really do. I read Little Thieves in 24 hours during Amazing Readathon. So considering it's 500 pages, that just shows how easy it is to listen to.
It really, yeah.
Because it was because it was excellent. And I did read it maybe a little faster because it was Amazing Readathon, but like I wasn't reading all my books that fast. So it just shows how much I enjoyed that book. And it was so digestible that like I dived in. We are going to really try and stay on a 15-minute chat today, just because that way we can get 3 sprints in before we head over to Margaret's channel and go over there. So I'm going to keep us pretty much on the timer today. And with that, it has been 15 minutes. So we are going to dive in and I will see you all in an hour.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Hello, friends. Before we get to how we did, I'm just going to say hello because we had a lot of new friends join us during that sprint, and I want to make sure we say hi to everybody. Hi, Julie. Hi, Shuri. Working from home today in lots of laundry, listening to Sins of the Lines. Hello, Alana. Bree is here. Hi, Bree. Taylor. Jessica just joining, and we'll be reading Tunnel of Bones. This is the one V.E. Schwab series I really did enjoy. I don't like V.E. Schwab's like adults. For some reason, I know the writing style doesn't work for me, but I really did like the middle grade. I know. I'm crazy. I've tried so many of them, and the middle grade was the only one.
I need to sit with that for a minute before.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, friends. It's a writing style thing. It has to be because it can't be the stories. Hi, Neva Snow Day for Ari. Hi, Rye.
God bless Neva.
Hmm?
Said God bless Neva.
I know, right? No rest for the weary. Okay, that's where we ended the sprint. So I'm going to star us there, and we will chat about how we did. I'm at 96% of Iron Flame, so I'm like so close to done. I will definitely.
Very nice. I'm a few pages further from, so I'm going back and forth. I need to finish editing my TBR because there are things that there's like 2 things that I'm doing. I'm like, well, this is actually time sensitive, so I need to have this done. Potentially by the end of the day. I'm trying to get this posted by the end of the day.
Yep.
But I read a few pages. So basically I'm like, I'm just going to spend 15 minutes editing, and then I'm going to read for the rest of the.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
It's very interesting in this book. I will add, considering that like the entire first book was about our main character having magic. Yeah. And how that was going to impact things, because he has done nothing really with magic.
Nope.
Okay, I got to page 133 from 117. So that someone can do that math.
This is the oddest.
It's
odd how these books are set up, to be honest.
Yes.
Like it really felt like just opening the next chapter to the book we read a month ago.
Yeah. And it really does feel like these were one book.
I said this on Patreon Sprints on Monday. I was like, it really feels like this should have been one book. I know that would have been massive, but you could have edited it down to be like an 800-page fantasy book.
Yeah, like I don't think they're not bad per se, but it does just feel like we are reading the rest of the same book that we were reading prior to that.
Yes. And not just because it like takes place right after, it's just like even stylistically, it felt like just reading the next chapter. Like there was no like, oh, we need to like, if you would pick these up months apart or even like years apart, there's no like recap of what happened in the last book. Like there's nothing to help you out had we taken a break.
She jumps you right into the action, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No.
It's just, I feel like different. I don't think you see as many people like just right into like there's no setup, there's no explaining things, which I think in a series is not terrible, but it is a really odd paced book.
It is. And I do think it's nice that we've read them really close together, so it's been really easy for that.
Yeah.
And I need to still figure out, I know I said in a Voxer to you that I needed to figure this out, but I still haven't, if we're supposed to read the prequel next or the next series next.
You did say that, and you said that, I think you said that on Voxer.
I think I did.
You said it at some point. I remember this.
And I still don't know the answer to that question because there's a prequel to this series and then there's like a duology that's like attached. And truly know which way I'm supposed to go next.
Like I'm sitting here, am I enjoying this because it's not as bad as I was assuming it was going to be, or is it actually good?
It's so funny. I said that when we read the first book because I went into this. It had been sitting on my shelf for a long time. Haven't really heard much about it. And I didn't have the highest of hopes for it.
Yeah.
And then I opened it and I was like, actually, this is good. But is it that's the question. Is it just like so surprising?
Mm-hmm.
Because not a lot is happening, I have to say. Like,
no, not a lot has happened. I feel like there are a lot of people that are, well, here's the thing, is I think that there's a lot of, so when you divide up, I think what gets people sometimes is they do not recognize that there are 2 different types of plot you can have in a book, which you can have the internal plot, the external plot of the things that are happening around the character, what they're doing, and you can also have internal plot. And I think internal plot is harder for a lot of readers to swallow because it feels like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And quite often people will do internal plot, but they will not, sorry, my nose itches. But they won't do it well. Like that was my issue with Tahara Mafi's This Woven Kingdom series in books 2 and 3.
Yep. That's so funny that you just brought this up because this is a series that I had heard nothing about, This Woven Kingdom. And then Rainey read the first book, and everyone in my Patreon was like, I think you'd like this book, Brittany. And I'm like, do you
first
think I would like it, Margaret?
Brittany, it depends. Here's the thing. You may not like, here's my issue with it. The first book is fantastic. It is immaculate. I loved the first book so much.
Okay.
Like the characters, all of that stuff. And then I can send you the videos where I talk about it, but in book 2, the book takes place over 36 hours. And it's her and who is going to be the love interest for this series, which is different from who seemed to be the love interest in the first book. So it's her and that person sniping at each other and arguing with each other almost the entire time. And like, he's also having a change of feelings in book 3 for him without him doing anything to actually make that make sense. So it's got a lot of pacing issues. Like that book, nothing happens in book 2. Okay. So I had issues with the pacing in it, and I didn't like I'm not someone that is a big fan of like I don't mind a love triangle, but if I'm gonna root for somebody, I want to root from them from book 1.
Yeah, I'm not a big love triangle fan. That is not my favorite. I'd rather like a why choose than a love triangle. That's just my vibe.
Like that's part of why I never finished Shatter Me, because I read the first 2 books and then I found out who she ends up with, which makes no fucking sense to me. I do not understand people's obsession with that character because he is a terrible character in the first 2 books. But yeah, book 3, I didn't recognize either the main character. I did not recognize the other character that we were in the head of. I was just like, I can't, like, her series just apparently are not for me when it comes to how the romance is going to go. And that's part of the biggest draw for me.
Yes. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
I have rants about it if you want.
I may try the first book.
The first book is so good. And if you're not hung up on the romance going a specific way the way I am, you might like it.
Yeah. Which I'll know from the first book, especially after what you just said. Like, I'll know, am I super invested in this couple? Well, then I'm not going to like the rest. And if I'm not, then I might be okay.
The first book is so well written, and I do not understand what happened with books 2 and 3 because they are not nearly as well paced and the characters are unrecognizable in my opinion.
This will definitely be a project for at least the second half of the year. Like there is no way I get to this series or this book in the next like 7 8 months. Because truly I'm looking at all the things that are coming up and I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't even own it. Do you know what I mean? So like I need to prioritize the books. I physically own it. Also, I'm waiting with bated breath for Oath.
Oathbound?
Oathbound. Thank you. My brain blanked at the
He's over here somewhere.
I'm waiting for it to arrive. And I really just hope, because you and I have talked about this series, is that I want more information. Please let me end Oathbound with more information than I have ended the other 2 books with. Like I don't care if the characters know, but somebody needs to tell me. I need more. And I really hope that that's what I get. I feel like it must be, because I cannot see us not by book 3 letting us in as readers a little bit more. Like I cannot see that.
Yeah, I think that there are some central mysteries to Legendborn and Bloodbound that are hard to get us that information because of the points of view that we have had, because it's almost entirely in Bree's point of view, and she doesn't know.
And she doesn't know.
We have a character coming in this next book that could potentially, I don't know if they do, but they could have a point of view, and if they did have like even just a couple of chapters of point of view, it could change things. It sounds like we've got a Bree point of view and we've got a Nick point of view in this book.
That would change the whole game, I think, because then we'd have one character who does have a lot more information. If we were in their perspective, we as readers would get it. Like, and I think that's exactly what I would love to see in this book. So we'll see. I'm very excited to read it.
I do think
right away, probably not, but like I still want to read it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I do think a lot of like Bree figuring things out is part of the plot. So it's like it's hard.
Totally. We need another perspective. I do think that's exactly what we need. Also, hello, Caitlin. How are you? Hello. Oh, I mean, I love the Hunger Games. So I'm assuming this is a reread, but if not, is this your first time? Catching Fire is my favorite of the Hunger Games trilogy.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it is the best one in that trilogy.
It
Like, I
really
love
is.
Hunger Games.
Oh, they're all great, but like that's just my absolute favorite. And I reread these not last year, but the year before, I think. And like this is the one YA trilogy that I like loved growing up that still holds up when I read it to this day. As an adult, I love it just as much. Unlike the other ones where I read them and I'm like, they hold a nostalgic place, so I still love them, but like they're not really good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think she peaked with Catching Fire, and it's not that like Mockingjay is bad. It's just that there are specific things in Mockingjay that happen that make it not my favorite.
That's
but
fair.
I still love it. It's still 5 stars.
Mockingjay is a hard book. It's a hard book to get through.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot, not that it's a bad book, it's a great book. Like Margaret said, it's still 5 stars. Like it's still a great book. It's just a heavier book, and there's things going on in it that are heavier. But the only book in that series that I don't like is the new prequel. I couldn't do the new prequel, but I'm not
Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm not a person who requires like a villain origin story.
Yeah.
It's never my favorite story type to read. So
yeah,
it didn't work for me in that way. I know there was important stuff in it, but like overall, it just didn't work for me.
I want to read it for that reason. I also am not like, I don't really like until people started talking about it and talking about what Suzanne Collins was trying to do with that book.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly care. I do want to read it and see how well she does with some of the themes that people are talking about her tackling, especially when it comes to like the radicalization of young men and the way that works. I'm very interested to see how she does that.
Yeah. And she's good at writing a good social commentary in her books. Like that is one of her, something that we know she does very well.
Yeah.
Hello, Shani. Hi, Stephanie. How are you, friends? What are you up to today? Read them years ago and rereading for the new one coming out. Yes. There is another one. I'm going to give Hamish's a try, even though I did not like the new prequel. I feel like I actually will. Like I said, I don't like villain origin stories. That's not my favorite like thing. But Hamish, I loved. Like, I mean, who doesn't love Hamish? Like, I mean, really, I would question you if you didn't.
No, I feel like Hamish's makes a lot of sense as something to expand on that world.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gone on record saying that like she writes books. Like if she writes, I think it's her that said if she writes another Hunger Games book, it will be because she has something to say.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
I do too. Because sometimes, well, we know that some authors will write a book kind of as like a money grab a little bit and not necessarily.
I don't blame them. But
I don't blame them either. I totally. But then as a reader, you're like, why do I have this story? Like the story seems unnecessary.
Coming at it from a writer's perspective, I do think that like a lot of the time when you write a book, there are a lot of stories that like just don't get told because you don't have the time for it.
Absolutely.
And so the question is like a lot of the time when I see that happening, I'm like, okay, they probably had more, but you do have to go, is this enough story
to
make a full book, or should it just be a novella?
A little book. Exactly. And I think even though the Snow storyline wasn't my favorite, I do think there is a audience for that. It just, I'm not that audience. So there's nothing wrong with making it, because like I said, I do think there's an audience for that, and there's an audience for Hamish's story, which I think I am more in that audience than.
You probably would have had a very different opinion of it if it had been Lucy that was the main character too, versus Snow being the main point of view.
Yeah, probably. Reading Always You and Me. It's my first reads pick this month. I told you all, coffee is still working and reading is hard. Look at me actually reading those. This is goals, honestly, because I will add books to first reads on my Kindle all the time. And do I read them first? No, absolutely not. They just go on the Kindle to live there for someday when I decide to get to them. Hi, Katie. How are you? Unexpectedly home today and thankful for the company. We are going to be here for another 7 hours. So you got us for a while. We're hunkered in for the day at this point, really. Juggling a few books today. With that, the timer is about to go off, and I did say we were going to try and stick to it, and we're doing a good job so far.
Yes, so let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll go into a sprint. I'll see you in an hour, friends. Hello, friends. Before we get into how that sprint went, I'm going to do some hellos because we did have another, again, it's morning. So like as people are getting up, they're joining us. Hello, sprinting, but one to hit the like button. More, I have not read this yet. It keeps getting put on TBRs for readathons, and then I just inevitably don't get to it. But I would like the recommendation anyway. Hi, Alex. Finishing up a vlog today and doing some content. Hello, Precious. Trying to complete a lot today and playing catch up. I feel this. This is literally me. My entire day is just like running around. Well, not running around, but like reading a ton of different books, trying to catch up on multiple different things, and also running around upstairs doing stuff. Read a chapter, and now I think I should probably get coffee and breakfast. I approve of this message. Good morning, Josephine, lurking and working. Alicia, I need to also start Breaking of Realms. This is something that I need to do. I also need to finish Deep End. Like we have the same. Breaking of Realms, I don't think is going to happen this week. I would have loved to have started it this week, but I think that's going to be at least a next week problem because this week is just, there's too many things, but I really want to read this book with everybody. Hi, Jean, at 37% of Ashes of the Star-Cursed King. Reading Nemesis Games by James S.A. Corey. Is this part of, it's book 5. Thank you. I'm new to the Leviathan Wakes Expanse series. I've only read the first book, and Margaret and I are going to read the rest of them. Do not worry. Hello, Brittany. And then, oh no, I thought I was at the end of the hellos, but I'm not. Good morning. Reading my way through the Chestnut Springs series. Finally 200 pages into Powerless. Nice. And I'm going to start there because that's where everybody was when we got into the sprint. Okay. Margaret, how'd you do? You're muted, dear.
I read pages.
That's good.
Yes. Nemesis Games was my favorite in the book or in the series for like the longest time.
I'm excited to continue that series. Like we're going to,
yeah.
I've now got the hardcovers of the first 3. So I'm ready for the next few books.
Okay. 23 pages that time. And then I made breakfast. And I also tried to get in contact with the client who called me at the very tail end of the last sprints. I'm not even kidding. It was like a minute between when he called and when we went to the sprint, and I called him almost immediately after we went to the sprint, but he didn't answer because he was headed into another appointment.
Fair.
Explain to me
why would he call you right before going into an appointment?
This is not going to be a quick conversation. Well, I mean, I think it should be a quick conversation, but I know it's not going to be because I know him.
Totally. So in that sprint, I finished Iron Flame. I've done it. I did it. I accomplished
Yay!
I need to vlog. So I there was only like 10 minutes left, and I was like, that's not enough time to like, I'll feel rushed, you know? I'll just vlog at the start of the next one. So the start of the next sprint will be a vloggy sprint to vlog my thoughts on Iron Flame and tell that vlog, because this is a binging the Empyrean series vlog for reasons you all see. So tell them that I'm starting Onyx Storm, but I'm not starting Onyx Storm yet. Not yet. That will be probably not today, because I have to read this first. I have to read Undertaking of Heart and Mercy first.
Like, that is a tomorrow Brittany problem.
That is future me. So for the rest of today, as far as I can foresee, I will be reading the Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, but first I must vlog and film and do the booktuber things as we have a tendency to do. But I did finish Iron Flame after, I don't know how long I've been reading this book.
Yeah.
A week and a half, maybe. It's so chunky. It's so large. But I did it. Okay, let me scroll up here because it again scrolled me to the bottom. And I'm like, I was already up, but how did I get to the bottom? StreamYard did things. In a staff meeting, so I'm lurking. I hope your meeting goes well, Vanessa. In the middle of chapter 8 of Speak of the Demon by Stacia Stark. Is this part of the A Court So Lovely series, or is this like a different one? It's Audible, so not sure how much I actually read. Audible. We discussed this on sprints on Saturday or Monday. I don't know. Sprints, all the sprints roll together when you're on sprints multiple days. Like I never. But we were like, Audible, why can you not get the percentage? Why? Hi, Tuesday. Just got home, going to be listening to Wuthering Heights. Christina is here. 32% into Sunbringer, switching back to the audio. I hope you are enjoying Sunbringer. I think, I gave both God Killer and Sunbringer 5 stars. And I like them for very different reasons. Although obviously for the same reasons of like the characters, but like what they're doing is very different. I do think I like God Killer like a tiny bit better. But like I love this series so very much. I'm so sad it's coming to an end. Like as much as I'm excited to see how it ends, I'm sad
Mhm.
that it's coming to an end, if that makes sense. Started a more or not a more. No, why did I go French? Armor of Dusk. I went
Wow,
French
you're
there for a
Canadian.
second. I did. Only read 10 pages because I got distracted. Hello, just joining, hoping to be reading. I've been struggling to pick up a physical book for a couple of days now, so I'm going to try and read a Swedish middle grade. That's a great idea. Sometimes
Nice.
middle grades are a great way to like just have like a really easy read. Something that's easy and quick and digestible. Good morning, Kendra. Rough morning here, but I would love to fit in some reading. I'm sorry you're having a rough day. Big hugs. Hopefully we can help you like kind of switch it around a little bit. Reading The Pull of the Stores historical fiction and liking it so far, 14% in.
Nice.
Hi, Jenna. Hope all is well. We are doing well. Working on some edits today. How are you? I did a little dip into A Breaking of Realms. Excited to read it, but playing Libby Chicken with a few books right now. This is me, Brittany. This is completely me of like, I really want to read this book with everyone over on, by the way, if everyone wants to know where we're reading this, we're reading it in Bree's Patreon Discord because Bree is working with this author and we're all very excited to read it now that the audiobook came out yesterday. It's brand
Nice.
new. So we're very excited to read this, but it's one of those ones that I didn't even know I was going, like when I made my TBR for the month, this wasn't even on my radar as of that point because I found out about this afterwards. So it's an add-on to the month. And right now I have to get through this week with the ones that were already like, I have deadlines for. And then next week I can like dip into
Be a little more loosey-goosey.
Exactly. Because next week, in theory, I will just have we'll probably still be working on our buddy read next week on
Yeah.
Explore. And then I can add like another book. You know what I mean? And this could be that other book. Words are hard. It's hard trying to film and keep falling all over my words. It's so frustrating. I understand this completely because when I talk to people, I don't stumble over my words. But as soon as I start talking to a camera, it's like, because it's not conversational, or maybe I just notice it more. Like in a conversation, I would just keep talking, but like on camera, I stop to like re-say it. So maybe it's just more that I'm more aware of what I'm doing, or I'm trying to talk faster. A lot of times on camera, I do talk faster than like I would in a conversational setting. So that's also why.
Well, I think also when you're people actually do slow down when they're talking to the camera. But the thing about talking to the camera is you're trying to get a specific point across.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're just having a conversation,
yes,
you tend to feel a little bit looser and more rambly,
mm-hmm.
right? Because it's a conversation. It's not like you trying to actually communicate to someone that you don't know necessarily.
Yeah, that's true. Good morning, Steph. Need to call my foot doctor to get an MRI results this morning. I hope you get good results. That's what I'm hoping for. I actually, speaking of this book, I saw it on NetGalley and I was debating requesting this, to be honest, but I'm kind of drowning in ARCs, so I didn't. But maybe I'll go back and
that makes sense.
It's fine. On chapter 3 of Wild Eyes. Oh, it's her other series. I need to read this author's first series because I'm really quite interested in it. And I've heard things that like it could be a me book, to be honest. So need to try that. Especially because it syncs with your Kindle and that gives you a percentage. Yeah, that's true. Can't wait for Faithbreaker. Me too. I'm so excited for Faithbreaker. Will I read it April 1st?
Did I need to continue that series?
You've only read the first book?
I've only read the first book so far.
The first book is it is the strongest, but I gave them both 5. So like I love them both. But I'm sad. I'm scared. I'm sad and I'm scared and I don't know what to expect from the last book and I'm nervous from where we like ended book 2, you know. And there's also a big sketty on the front of it. And I'm like, well, I love sketty. So like, what are we in store for here with this?
What's happening?
What's happening? But as much as I would love to say that I'm going to drop everything April 1st to read it, I don't know if that be the case because I need to talk to Leandra and Julie, because we buddy read the first 2 books. So like we need to
See what
make
you're doing
plans,
first.
and none of us have made any plans. And I keep saying that every time it comes up in sprints, I'm like, I need to make plans with them. And then do I go and message? No. Maybe this time will be the time that I do. Well, we'll see. Who knows? Hi, Anna. Good morning. Reading Heartless Hunter and The Blue Castle. 2 different vibes, but it's going great. What's The Blue Castle? Do you know what this is?
No.
Neither. I'm like, okay, 2 different vibes, but like, what's the other vibe? I mean, I know Heartless Hunter, obviously.
It's a Lucy Maud Montgomery book.
Oh, it's part of the Anne of Green Gables. Okay.
No, it's not. I don't think. But well, she has other series and other books she
But
wrote.
they're like connected, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a very different vibe, though. True.
Yeah.
Very, very different vibe. The audio for Breaking of Realms is so good. I love when I hear this. This makes me so happy because even if an audio is bad, I'm going to use the audio because I'm a mostly audiobook reader. I will physically read a book if I really, really have to. If I must, I will. But I do not gravitate to that way of reading if I don't have to. Although this year, I will say I have physically read like 7 books, which considering I don't think I could say I read anywhere near that all of last year physically, except for like manga and graphic novels, which I don't really, that's different because obviously you have to consume those that way. I feel like I'm doing better getting back into my physical reading, mostly because I'm doing projects where I'm tackling my Kindle, and a lot of my Kindle books just don't have audio. Like that is not an option. Even if I like, in some of them, like, yes, they do, but like I'd have to get it through Audible. And some of them I'm like, do I really want to use an Audible credit on that? No.
The answer is almost always no.
No, I don't. So yeah. It does. It comes out earlier in the UK. It did with all 3 God Killer books. Or not just the UK, I'm assuming all of Europe, to be honest. It came out a month earlier for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Not quite a month for this one, but for the other ones, they were a good solid month earlier.
That's interesting.
It is. I know the author is British, so that I'm sure that's one of the reasons why. I would have thought by now they would have synced up the release times.
The thing is they quite often do, and I don't know what, because like you'll have UK releases that release at the same time for both US and UK for British authors, and then you'll have British authors that are released before, and don't know.
I don't know. It made sense for her first book because it was a debut, and I'm guessing they weren't really sure how it would do in other markets. So like that one, I can understand why that might have been the way it was. But now for book 3, knowing how big the series is, not that it's the hugest series, but there is quite a popularity around it. I don't understand why it's still separated, but it is. It's fine. It's different from Anne of Green Gables, but still lovely so far. Hi, Jen. Just got home from running errands listening to Glass Houses by Louise Penny. I don't know which book this is in the series, but I think it's pretty far in.
Nice.
Like in the teens. I have not continued with that since the last book, which was not in Three Pines. I need to go back and give it another try now that I know they're back in Three Pines, because I did not like when they left it. I was like, why are we here? Why are we here? Where are all my favorite, like the best part of the series is the characters. And you just went to another place and took none of the characters with you. And I was just like,
why?
What?
For what purpose?
What has happened? Like all the people I love, we've abandoned, and I'm in this tiny small town I've loved. And if you're going to set a series in 4 books in the same place, I think you kind of got to stay, or at least bring all the characters with you. Like you have to.
Yeah, I feel like it would make sense more. Like, why is it in the same series if it's different characters in a different town? Right? Like if it's same town, different characters, okay. If it's same characters or characters we know from the first book's a different town, okay, that makes sense. But that doesn't.
It was like 1 or 2 characters went on a vacation, and I was like, it was not my favorite.
That's funny.
All the books for my physical TBR I read last month that I consumed digitally, Kindle or audio. I am strongly an audiobook reader at this point. And by audiobook reader, I will say a lot of those is immersion reading. I'm not just I do just listen to the audiobook for some, but a lot I immersion read. I like to immersion read. It's just how I like to do it. Still need to read Sunbringer. It's 13. I knew it was in the teens. I was like, okay. And I know that you told me this too, Jen, that most of them do take place in Three Pines, which is good. I am going to just do this last comment really quick. I think I'm kind of all over the place with my reading at the moment. Got 2 physical books and 2 ebooks, and I'm waiting for 3 audios from the library. So that will stay on task because this will be the last sprint here, but it's not the last sprint. We're going to direct over to Margaret's for more sprints there. So we'll do an hour here and then we will hop over. I'll see you all in an hour. friends, how are you doing? I filmed, as I said I was going to do. I ate lunch, and then I started reading The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy from where I was, and I'm now at 42%. So
Nice.
it reads like this is going to be such a different vibe than Iron Flame, because every time I came back in any sprint when I was reading Iron Flame, I'd moved like 3%. Like it was like it wasn't it wasn't quite that bad, but it felt like it, when you're like reading those chunky books and the percentage is just like not moving very quickly, where like this one, the percentages are going to fly by a lot faster. So that's going to be like, it's going to be a nice switch to have that for sure. So yeah, that's where I'm at. How did you do, Margaret?
Well, I finished editing the video and then I didn't do anything else because I was waiting for my client to call me. He did not. I'm like, all right, if he hasn't called you at the end of this timer, I'm putting it on Do Not Disturb. Yeah. And I sent him a text like, hey, I tried to call you. It sent me straight to voicemail, which is what it has done every single time. So, and he only ever calls me when I'm busy. He only ever calls me on days I have stuff to do. But I'm like, I will be free after 4:00.
Right. Yeah. You gotta love when it just is constant phone tag with someone, like,
And it's so urgent when they're calling me, but when I call them back, it's not urgent anymore, and it drives me nuts.
Well, and especially where you called like right after, like it was like minutes.
Directly after.
So yeah.
Like I called him before he even finished the voicemail, and it was a minute-long voicemail.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like you called so fast back. It is what it is. Hi, Stacey and Steph. How are you? Switch to Quicksilver. Have you read Quicksilver yet, Margaret?
I have not. It's on my list of things I want to read, but I haven't read it yet.
I think you'll like it. I would be surprised if you didn't, honestly. Hi, Servasha. Finished Beautiful Ugly, and it was horrible. All in caps. No. I'm so sorry for you, because that's no fun when a book is not what you want it to be to that level. Do you have options for what you're going to read next? Hi to Neil. On a break, if I have a chance, I'll listen to Pride and Premeditation. I need to get to this as well at some point. I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to try, even though this is not on my TBR for the month, it's going to be such a fast read, and I do have the audio, so like I might try again. There's a lot of books that are like on my Libby that are like, if I have time to read them this month, I would like to read them, but are they for anything in particular? No. So like, we'll see. Left for a while to play card games with my mom, but I came back during that sprint and finished Tunnel of Bones. Nice. Had some popcorn and worked on planner updates. Folded 3 loads of laundry. Got to 89% and worked on my diamond painting. Started Dungeon Crawler Carl 7. Every time I try to say this, I'm like, I have to say it slow with intention, or it's just not, it's a tongue twister for me and I can't get it out. Worked on my
similar sounds there. I said there are so many similar sounds there.
So many. They're just, it's all the same letters, and my brain just cannot do it. Worked on my puzzle and back to Sunbringer. 23% of Wuthering Heights. 92% of Cinderella is Dead. Brittany, are you like this? Because I've heard very mixed reviews on this book. Now, I loved This Poison Heart by this author, which is the next, like not the next book, because it's a separate series.
It's their next book. Yeah.
It's their next book. Yes. But I did get Cinderella is Dead in my advent calendar. So like I have it and I want to read it. And I mean, it's a fairy tale retelling. So like in theory, I will love this. But like, let me know. Ate dinner, read around 100 pages. Going back to a Swedish middle grade was a good idea. Sprint hop and continued to listen to Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I'm loving it. I have less than an hour to finish. So close. Nice. Got to 69%. Nice. Love it. Of Painted Devils, and I'm loving it.
Beautiful. You're going to be finished before we even have the Painted Devil sprints on Saturday.
Truly. I need to reread Little Thieves, though, because even though I said I read it, quickly and I enjoyed it. When you all were doing your sprints and talking about things that you were like, oh, I just got to this, my brain went, what?
Hey, listen, there's stuff that happens in that book that even I didn't remember. And that was my 4th time reading it. So,
right. And it's been 2 years since I've read it, because it wasn't Last Heart. It was the one before. So like, it's been a while. I need to reread it before I go into Painted Devils.
I feel like if you remember the characters and you remember how it ended pretty well, you should be okay. No.
I remember the characters because I mean, that was what I loved about it so much. So the characters are like cemented. But if you were to say, how does Painted Devils end? Or sorry, how does Little Thieves end? I couldn't tell you.
I mean, to be fair, I knew how it ended, and I was still a little bit confused as to how we got where we were at the beginning, because it's like a weird, not quite a time jump, but it's a weird little jump. There's some stuff that has happened that we're not aware of.
Right. And we get that as we go through.
We get that as we go.
Gotcha. I cannot wait for this sequel. This sequel is very, very exciting to me. November, there are so many books that I am highly anticipating, like sequels to books that I absolutely adored last year, and they're all coming out in November. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to want to read them to see if they end up on Best Books of the Year, because some of them are like sequels to books that were on this year's Best Books of the Year.
Yep.
And honestly, I could see me liking the Quicksilver sequel more than I liked the first book.
The first one?
Just because the problem with Quicksilver was the beginning for me. After that, I would have 5-starred it. So I could see me liking the sequel better. So I'm like, I'm going to need to read all these before the end of the year. My Best Books of the Year could utterly change drastically in like November, December, like when I'm reading all of these like much anticipated releases.
This tells you a little bit about which category I'm aiming for when it comes to Best Books of the Year. I'll talk about this a little bit in my my TBR, because I've got a little secret project that I am inviting people to participate in, but I have to finish setting that up.
Exciting. We love a secret project.
Yes.
Reading my March book, that's what my mood is. So feeling I'm running with it. Yeah, just run with your mood. Absolutely. On page 148 out of my Big Book for the Year challenge, A Tale for the Time. It's a new to me author. Nice. Losing battle with my battery in the daylight. How is the video taking so day long to film? Editing me is going to hate me. To be fair, filming me hates me too. This is me all the time. I'm like, oh, why? How did this take so long? The Goodreads clean out video that I did. As I was filming that, I was like, you can even see, like, as much as that edited down to only being a half hour, it took me 2-ish hours to do it.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference from the start me to like the middle me. Cause I'm like, you can tell about halfway through that I've probably been filming for about an hour and a half at that point. And I'm now jokes. I'm just here. I'm vibing at that point. Cause I'm like, I started off really like, okay, here's what this book is about, to just like, no, we've been here too long. Made an appointment with my foot doctor for tomorrow. Today is going to focus on Passion by Lauren Kate, which is the 3rd book in an older YA series. Nice.
Nice.
I hope your appointment goes well tomorrow. On page 43 of We Used to Live Here, we'll start spinner tasks and more reading of Take a Hint, Danny Brown next sprint. I mean, I will support a Talia Hibbert book at any time. You can always and forever read a Talia Hibbert. Yes, thank you. I'm
already on it.
Perfect. I am redirecting, so it should automatically take you there. But if it doesn't, here's the link. But yeah, it should automatically. Let's talk about how we have to wait until September to have the seat. Seriously. And I mean, I wasn't sure if I even was, because the start of this book, I was like, yeah, it's fine. But that ending, I was like, well, I need to at least know what happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need to know. And actually, just on Tuesday, I was working on a list of much anticipated releases to do a video.
Yeah.
Obviously not for that late in the year. I'm looking at releases like, you know, in the next few months. But I was like making a spreadsheet doing it. I was like, well, anything that I knew was coming out later in the year, I still put it on the spreadsheet so that it would be like easier for future me if I want to do another video for like the later months. And I'm just like putting it in. So many sequels are coming out. Like it is aggressive. And then there's also books that of like my auto-buy authors, like a lot of my authors who do not put out books every year. R.F. Kwan's got a new book this year. Frederick Bachman has a new book this year. Like they do not release every year, yet they've all decided
this year is the year.
And I'm like, I need help. I need I need help because they're all books that like could, again, R.F. Kuang's new Dark Academia book could 100% be one on my best books of the year. Like Apple was my best book of the year in the year that I read it. And I have very high expectations of another Dark Academia from R.F. Kuang.
Yeah.
So like Frederick Bachman's book could 100% be one of my best books of the year. Like if I read all these books, unless there are, big disappointments, which is possible.
Yeah.
When you are anticipating the amount of books that I'm anticipating, it is possible. But and those are all coming out later in the year. These are not even ones coming out in the next few months. I looked at the next few months and there's a lot, especially in romances, because I feel like romances, around spring, summer. A lot of my favorite romance authors are releasing books this year, or like sequels to books that I've read.
Terrible position to be in. How awful for you.
It's very stressful. I'm very stressed about it. I'm very stressed to like, how am I going to read all these books? Truly.
Well, this is how you are going to read them when you get to them.
One at a time.
Yeah, one at a time. The nice thing about books is that they do not go anywhere once you own them. If you own them, you have all of the time you need to take to get to them.
It's true. And
despite what people on the internet will have you think.
This is very accurate.
Wow.
This is also true, and I'm still debating on what I'm going to do about Mate. To be honest, I'm debating because
the sequel to Bride.
Yes, and up until Deep End, which I do think Deep End may change my rating order. I have a video on my channel of rating the Ali Hazelwoods in order of which I liked. Bride was my least favorite. I do think Deep End may end up being my least favorite over Bride, but still. Yeah, once I finish it, we'll see. I'm only halfway through, but it's not looking promising. But like Bride is just very outside of like what I read. Like I prefer her STEM romances, but at the same time, I have read every Ali Hazelwood. So I'm like, do I just read it because I have read every single one? And I didn't hate Bride. I gave it a 3-star. Like I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
So I'm debating what to do with Mate. I'll probably read it because it's not like it takes long. It's a fast read. So I probably will.
I mean, what I would do is if I was truly, I would just like, I don't know, like see if you can get a Kindle. I don't know if it's on Kindle Unlimited or something, but read that and not purchase it until after you've read it.
Yeah, I'll just get it from my library. I just realized what time it was. We're supposed to be on your channel in a minute. So
it's okay. I'm watching. You're good.
Good. I'm going to end these and we're going to head over to Margaret's channel for some more chats, more sprints, more reading, and we will see you in a couple minutes. Bye.
Yeah.